Welcome back to the Ponca City Monthly Podcast. I'm your host, Andy, and this week we've got Kevin Emmons, who is a local multi-hyphenated business owner. He owns buildings, several businesses. So, Kevin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit, we were just talking a little bit about all the different businesses that you have. So just give me another little rundown of some of that stuff.
Okay, well, we'll start at the West End then.
Yeah.
I'm doing a boutique hotel, a 6-room boutique hotel right next to the Ponca Theater. It'll be called the Grand Ghost, and the hotel, I'll get it up and running. It'll have a lounge in it as well, and then after I get it up and running, I'll redo the downstairs and put in a fine dining, probably steakhouse. So then we'll come down to 310 East Grand, which was the Axhole. And we closed it down doing a little bit of remodeling. My daughter is getting all the licenses in her name, and she's going to reopen it. And Dad's just going to be the landlord of that one.
Nice.
And then next door to that is Provisions, our coffee house and sandwich shop. And that is going to be Provisions by day. And then starting this Thursday, tomorrow, we are going to be Big Snake Barbecue in the evening for Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights,
Nice.
4 to 9. So do that for a couple weeks, get the kinks worked out. That is also going to be the hub where we cook for an old gas station I'm remodeling on Highway 60 and Big Snake Road, and that we'll have food out there that will sell meals to go. All of our barbecue stuff out there.
Nice.
So then I own the Royalty Building here on the corner of 4th and Grand. It's just a retail space that I rent out downstairs, and then the upstairs has 27 offices that I rent out as well. Then I've got a couple other buildings that are future projects. The original Ponca City News Building at 3rd and Cleveland. That's kind of my big pie in the sky building. It has 10 apartments upstairs. I'm going to redo those to help hit a nice price range for single parents that are trying to turn their lives around, going back to school, doing the right things, and just need some help.
Yeah.
So, and then that also will have a restaurant in it and a couple retail spaces. My office is going to move into there, and then that leaves the full basement for a commercial kitchen and all the mechanical equipment. So that's kind of a rundown of I've got old warehouse on First that I kind of work out of. But other than that, that's kind of the rundown of what I have downtown and what I've got going on right now.
Fantastic. So I want to go back and I want to start at the hotel. So where did you get the idea? You've been working on that building, right? Because it was kind of a little bit of a dump.
That building was actually covered up. The downstairs was in really great shape. It was the boardroom for the bank, as well as the trust offices were in there. But the upstairs hadn't been touched. I'm going to say 70 years plus. The building actually predates electricity downtown.
Oh, wow.
So the upstairs had just a couple wires that ran down the hallway to put lights in the rooms. But other than that, there were still gas lines because it had gas lights originally.
Oh, wow.
So, but the downstairs had been completely redone. Of course, I've taken out the suspended ceiling, so it kind of looks a mess, but it's really not in that bad a shape. It's just that the upstairs hadn't been used in years, and it was actually a 18-room hotel back in the day. So most people don't know it, but there were 15 upstairs hotels in downtown Ponca City.
Okay.
In the early 20s. As well as 2 full-blown hotels.
Nice.
So there were a lot of upstairs utilized as hotels. They were more of a boarding style. They each room didn't have a bathroom. You had shared bathrooms and showers.
Okay.
So it was kind of a scheduling thing that I can't imagine anyone would stay in a hotel now without those. But
yeah.
So I removed walls, kept a lot of the configuration the same. A lot of the original woodwork is still intact.
Nice.
It was actually just kind of a time capsule.
Okay.
So
I'm thinking of a different building because I was thinking of it. So the bank has always used that as lower. Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking of a different building.
Yeah.
Because did you take the front of it off?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Now, yes, the front.
Okay.
The front. I've restored the bottom of the front. Still have the upper part of the front to redo. But yeah, when the bank had that covered up and it made it look like it was just rest of the bank. Yeah, it was. They chipped off some stone and they removed brick, and so the upper part still has a little bit of work to do on it. The downstairs part is completely redone. But it was also completely missing. There was no storefront anymore.
Yeah.
There was no staircase from the front. There was no way to enter. There was just a little bitty narrow staircase in the back. It was the only way you could get to the upstairs.
Wow.
So like I say, it hadn't been utilized for at least 75 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you walk into a building and it's maybe not perfect, how do you go about envisioning what it can become? Because to me, that's an art project.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
So that's I'm a designer. That's what I went to school for.
Okay.
Actually, mechanical design. But that's just the way my mind works. Every building I've ever bought, when I walked into it, I knew immediately what I wanted to do. The picture of what it would look like when it was complete.
Yeah.
In my head, that's one thing I would usually have to sketch it out for my wife because she doesn't see those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just the way my mind works.
Wow.
That's how I see it. So
I as an artist, sometimes I start with a blank canvas a lot. I'm a graphic designer, so I start with a blank page. But sometimes I can see, not sometimes, it's how I make my money. I see what's going to be on that page.
Right.
But yeah, sometimes it's really hard to convey to people like, hey, this is what it's going to become.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's an amazing talent, I think.
Well, I think, I believe that each one of us is put on the earth to do a certain thing and that you're made to do that thing, and that's the thing that's going to make you the most happy. And I honestly believe that this is where my place is.
Yeah. So why do you think that? Why did you pick? Are you from Ponca City?
Yeah, I was born and raised here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So this is like hometown, part of revitalizing hometown downtown.
Yeah. Well, when I grew up, downtown was, you didn't buy school clothes. You couldn't get shoes. All of your sporting equipment you bought downtown. So growing up, downtown was all of the retail.
Sure.
And then I saw the era of downtown move out into 14th Street and the strip malls, and just really get decimated. It's come back so much now that when I bought my first building, and it's only been 8 years ago, there were 25 empty storefronts from the railroad tracks to Fifth.
Wow.
And now we have 4. So,
That's fantastic.
And we've got a really, really great group of younger people, ones that are, a lot of them are my kids' age,
Sure.
so it's great for me to see the interest in downtown again and wanting to see that walkability. And everybody knows that it won't be that great big retail space anymore.
Yeah.
But we can be the entertainment and those things that downtowns are now, you go listen to live music, you go have a drink, you go have some dinner. So the next iteration for me is to have those nighttime restaurants.
Okay.
We need that for our next step in revitalization.
Absolutely. And I would say the Axe Hole was part of that. So tell me a little bit
It's
about...
actually going to be MJ's. That's what they're going to name it. It's going to be called MJ's, and
Nice.
it still will have it's a venue type space. It's an entertainment space. Mm-hmm. The Axe Lanes are actually coming out. That was kind of a fad, and it's faded out now. So more pool tables going in, more cornhole, more video game type stuff. So they're talking about maybe getting a golf simulator. So just some different entertainment. The intent is early in the evening, still be family friendly. It turns into a little bit more of a bar later at night, but still, that's the intent, is to be kind of a little entertainment place. And we our overflow, or maybe even if we get really busy with Big Snake Barbecue, that will be an outlet too, where you can order and eat over there.
Cool.
Obviously, we don't have our liquor license at Provisions. If you want to have a drink with your barbecue, you order it, we'll take it over there. So it's just a really convenient spot for us to have extra seating.
Nice.
So.
And tell me about, how was that building also sort of
That building was a mess.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't want to say like, was it a mess? And then he'd be like, no, we kept it really nice for.
No, that building had a roof leak for years.
Oh wow!
And so I got it really inexpensive, but the first thing I had to do was put a roof on it. It had leaked long enough that all of the wood floor was rotted out, so all of the wood floor had to come out. And that's actually part of what we're doing is we're adding some additional flooring in there. For the axe hole, I had 5,000 square feet of AstroTurf in there, reclaimed AstroTurf.
Wow.
Worked great for the axe hole. But we took some out and put some more flooring down to have table seating area and a little bit more hard flooring. So that's part of what that remodel is.
Did the AstroTurf come from anywhere fun?
Actually, the AstroTurf came from a soccer field in Wichita.
Oh, there you go. So no great story.
No, not that I know of.
It was just a cool soccer field that needed a new place to live.
Yeah, it was fun, but like I say, it's kind of it was a fad type thing. So you move on.
Yeah, absolutely. And so now let's talk about provisions. Were you always in the food industry, or is that something new that came along?
No, Tracy and I, neither one had ever been in, not even worked in a restaurant. Nice. So, but a coffee shop at that time when we opened Provisions, a coffee and sandwich shop, was something that we needed downtown. We had Daily Grind for years, and it had been closed for 20 years or something like that. But we needed that type of shop downtown. So the business plan for it's a terrible business plan because it's a break even, sure. and so we opened as long as it pays the bills. It will stay open. Yeah. That's just one of those things that we had to have for downtown. So we opened. January of 2019. 3 months later, COVID shut us down. Yeah. So, but here we are. In 2025, still going. So, it's pretty exciting to have done it and with no experience other than what we gathered from other people. So,
yeah, and I feel like I could totally be lying about this, and if I am, you can correct me. But the flooring in there, was that reclaimed as well, or is that brand new flooring?
That is vinyl plank luxury.
Oh, okay,
that's luxury vinyl plank flooring. Was
there something in there that was reclaimed?
Well, there's actually the wall behind the counter.
Okay,
those panels that are in there are dressing room panels that I found in the basement of the Royalty Building from a Smitty's clothing store.
Okay.
It was a men's clothing store that was downtown, and they had these really cool raised panels that were the dressing rooms. And then there's some old doors up there that I took out of other buildings, and so that back wall is kind of just a mismatch of things that I reclaimed out of buildings.
Nice, because the first time I went in there, the floor was the first thing I noticed because I was like, "This is really cool."
Yeah, it was the perfect fit for what we wanted to do, but it is luxury vinyl plank flooring right out of a box. It looks like it was coated with 5 different paints, and scraped off, but no, it's right out of the box.
So when that opened, there was not a lot of coffee shops here. Do you think that's kind of funny the way that businesses work? Like you start a business and then it's like, oh, there's like now 20 of them.
To me, it's kind of comical in a town, Ponca City size that we have as many coffee shops as we do. But the other thing is coffee shops on 14th Street that is not my demographics. That's sure. I don't pull people from 14th Street. Right. It's the people that are downtown. It's convenient too. So you know how it is. People shop within 2-3 blocks of their house if they can.
Yeah.
So
and whenever I go into Starbucks, I'm not trying to be friendly.
Yeah.
I don't want to get out of my car and talk to people.
Yeah.
But when I come to Provisions, I want to get out and have a nice lunch.
And that's the experience we're going for. Is we want you. We've got the free Wi-Fi, so you can bring your computer in there and spend the morning. And if if you're remote work and you want to get out of the house for a while, come down there, have a cup of coffee. If you're still there at lunchtime, order you a sandwich. But that's what we wanted, is that feel of the downtown shop where everybody can gather.
Yeah, so. And I think your sandwiches are very gourmet. Where did you come up with those ideas?
All of the sandwiches are primarily Tracy's creations.
Okay.
We did it together. Went to food shows, picked out some things that kind of hit a place in Ponca that nobody else had. So it's just a lot of research and a lot of trial and error. So it's but we also, I mean, our barbecue is kind of going to be along the same lines. Ryan does all of his own spices. Mm-hmm. Everything that we do is really a custom thing. We've got a chicken millie rib that we're going to do, which is a tribute to the Blue Moon restaurant that used to be in Ponca City. Mm-hmm. That really, the rib, nobody's been able to copy it very well. I think I've got it down. I was able to do it on my wings, so I think I can replicate it on the rib. We've been playing with it, and I think I've got it now. And then I came up with one that has Ryan's spice on it when it goes in the smoker. And then we're putting a hot honey. It's just a Sweet Baby Ray's hot honey that we used on our wings. Uh-huh. Well, I slathered it on some ribs, and to be honest with you, that is probably the rib that I'm going to eat from now on.
Nice.
So and then we've got Ryan makes a firecracker spice. It's not really hot, not real spicy, but just a tiny bit of heat. But it's something that you can't get anywhere else, and it's something you've never seen at a barbecue place, you know.
Yeah.
So we're trying to do some things that was like, for me, it's to pull people to Ponca City. It's like, have you tried those ribs at that barbecue place in downtown Ponca City? And for me, I want to bring the tourism in here. I want those, and everybody benefits from it. You know,
yeah.
It's not just us. It's bring those people in here and get them to spend those tourist dollars. You know.
Yeah, and you talked about it just briefly, and I want to go back to it. When you decide that you're going to make a rib and it's going to be your signature ribs, how many ribs do you have to eat in order to figure that out? Like, how many ribs have you cooked?
Well, we've probably went through, just Ryan and I have probably went through 6 or 7 slabs ourselves, playing around, and Ryan is the barbecue guy. He loves to do it. He's great at it. So Ryan's been playing around with it for a long, long time. I'll just put some coating on it after it's done, you know. And that's one thing that you typically, other than barbecue sauce, you usually don't see people mess with the ribs much after. Well, why not? You know, you do it with chicken wing, and that's kind of where I got it. It's like, why wouldn't you try it with a rib and see how, you know? And it, like I said, that's chicken millie, the Blue Moon. Is my rub. I love it. It was a traditional restaurant. You could only get that here in Ponca City. And like I said, when I did this hot honey rib, I'm probably going to switch. That's probably good. I took a sample over to Vortex, and they loved it. One kid said, "Well, I'm never going to cook my ribs again." So that right there to me is one of those things. You know, you play with it, you see if people like it. Now, I will tell you, it's probably a rib that you're either going to like it or you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it.
Sure.
It's like, no, this isn't a smoked rib, you know.
Right.
But to me, I think there's going to be a lot of people go for it.
Nice. So do you have to worry about the wood or just stuff like that you put into it? Or?
Okay, so that is something that I really need to really put it out there. Stuart Powell, president CEO of Cook Shack Smokers.
Okay, I had that on my list, but I wasn't sure.
He has no restaurant in town that uses his smokers at their facility. That's their primary means to cook. So we are partnering with him. He's actually donated us a smoker. Nice. And we are going to be his outlet because he wants, right now when he has customers come, he has to smoke the food out at his shop and he feeds them in his break room. And so we're going to be his restaurant that he will send customers to go sample food off of his smoker. So it's great partnership. We also, Head Country is going to partner with us as well. So nice. those are things to promote Ponca City. For me to come to Ponca City and leave and not know that Cook Shack and Head Country are made in Ponca City. Yeah. I think as a town we failed, but we don't have any outlet stores for those, sure. So for me, it's we promote those, and we want to be that branded outlet where everybody knows that, the word gets out. Everybody knows that Head Country and Cook Shack. Cook Shack is actually international. Mm-hmm. They have outlets in the UK. Head Country, I know for a fact, is national, and so it's made right here in Ponca City, Nice. So and they're great companies, great people. So it's just, for me, it's a win for everybody. And we actually catered. Stuart he's been in Europe for 2 weeks, and called us up. He said, "Hey," he said, I do whatever Tuesday of the month that was. He said, I cook lunch for everybody, and he said, I've been gone and I completely forgot. So he calls us up Monday and he says, "Do you want to cater it for me?" So we actually got to cater Cook Shack for all of his employees using the smoker that, basically that he's donated us to promote his business. So that was, and then they loved everything that they had. So that was a really good, way to test it out. And are we on the right path? And all the employees out there, of course, they eat. They smoke, and Stuart plays with stuff, and so it was just one of those, affirmation that nice. we're doing it the right way. If the barbecue experts liked it, so
I didn't know about Cook Shack until I moved here,
right?
And then you start learning about all the different things they do, and it's just amazing that we have that company that's here.
Yeah, they have a pizza oven.
Yep.
We may go down the road and we'll have to do a little bit of rework in our kitchen, but we may go down the road and do one of their pizza ovens. And they have a line of charbroilers. They have the pizza ovens, and they like I said, Stuart, that's kind of his baby. He's kind of the design guru out there, and just a phenomenal person besides that. So. Yeah.
So tell me about your properties that you own. I'm gonna point because I can't remember what that you
said. The Royalty Building.
The Royalty Building.
Yeah. That building was built by E.W. Marlin. It was finished up in 1923. Have famous architect designed it. It was actually designed after a church that E.W. Marlin saw in Mexico. So the 4th Street entrance would have been what the front of the church looked like.
Oh, wow.
That he built that building as retail. He had an office up there. His first office was in the corner office. So there's two offices that have private bathrooms. His, and cat-a-corner across the hall was his vice president. They had private bathrooms, but other than that, there's a 3-stall bathroom for men and women at each end of the building upstairs. He actually built that originally. One of the primary retail businesses that had in it was a Piggly Wiggly. He had a grocery store for downtown. It was the first grocery store downtown was a Piggly Wiggly. So that was part of what that building was. And then, like I said, over the years, it's been paint stores. There's been paint stores in there. There's multiple clothing stores have been in there. So it's one of those buildings that just has stood the test of time. And it actually has there's about 6,000 square feet of the basement that's completely finished out, and it was a shelter for downtown. During the Cold War, it was also a bomb shelter. There's a part of the basement that's unfinished, and it still has rations in it. It has water and canned crackers.
Oh, wow.
That came from Vance Air Force Base in 1962.
Wow.
So there's a couple pallets of that still down there, but it's just a really cool old building.
Nice. So what do you think is the future of downtown Ponca City? If you had to lay it out and think here's where it's going to go in 5 years, 5 to 10 years.
My vision of downtown Ponca City is that it's the entertainment hub, and it becomes the, if you will, the young spot, where we have more apartments downtown. You get those, and I work in downtown Tulsa, so what I see that lives in the apartments there are a lot of 25 to say 40-year-olds. They're out walking their dogs. They're so for me, it's to get the living down here, and then to have the places that you can walk to in the evening, that the restaurants, the bars, the live music, just kind of, for me, it's an entertainment hub is what I see. That's my vision. That's what I intend to help create. Yeah. So that's kind of what I see is be kind of that young hip spot, I guess, if you will.
Yeah.
So that's what I would like to see is, and hopefully that we get the train through here and we come, and even if we don't, I want downtown to be that spot, like some of the really popular downtowns. People go where the tourists go.
Yeah.
So Ponca has a lot of things going for it to bring tourists in. With the mansion, Ponca Lake Park, Wentz Camp, all of those things have been underutilized for years because we didn't really need to develop our tourism industry. What town do you know of in Oklahoma that's a little over 24,000 people and has 2 beautiful golf courses? I mean, that's unheard of.
Yeah.
A lot of towns with 24,000 people don't have a golf course at all. We've got 2 beautiful ones. We've got a beautiful city lake. So let's develop some of those things. Kind of for me, the sailboat side of Ponca Lake is that's one of those things that people don't sail a lot anymore. So what could we do with that? Could we put one of those big jungle gym islands out there, and it right below the campground, and what can we do to bring people in? So
absolutely
bring that outside money in as well. So
yeah. Also, I don't know if we mentioned it on the podcast, but I know we talked about it before, is the ghost aspect.
Yeah.
I would love to do a ghost tour of downtown, because you've got the Pumpkin that has ghosty stuff.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'm sure all
of
these
we've
buildings...
got the funeral, the old funeral home.
Yeah.
I actually had, there's a ghost hunter in Pawhuska.
Nice.
Her and her friends came over to the Grand Ghost 3 weeks ago, and they were gonna stay up there. They went in the upstairs. We're gonna stay up there for an hour. Hour ticks off, and then another hour ticks off, and then another hour ticks off. So they finally left and shut everything up and all of that. So I texted her. I said, "Okay, did you get anything?" And she said, "Oh yeah." She said, "We've got a lady," and she said her name's either Sarah or Savannah Brown. And I was like, okay. She said, I've got to do some searching into it. But yeah, that's when Christopher was the director at the Pumpkin.
Yeah.
He actually contacted me because I had looked at the old funeral home one time about buying it. I'm actually the only person that's been in there that was not their family in the last 15 years. They showed me the building. It literally looks like it was in full work mode on a Friday. They walked out, shut the door, and that's it.
Oh, wow.
You walk in there, and that's what it looks like. But when he was director at the Pumpkin, the Discovery Channel contacted him, and if they could get in the funeral home, they would do a nationally televised on Discovery Channel. They would do a ghost hunter show featuring the Pumpkin and that building. But understandably, the family didn't want to let them in. So it's, So I actually have a gentleman that there's a good chance he'll be my manager at the hotel. It's kind of he has some actor in him,
right?
He's done some ghost tours. He calls them spirit walks.
Yeah.
But he's done them in some of my buildings, and he's got one of Barney's that he was doing it in. So yeah, there's definitely I want to promote that aspect of maybe we can be the ghost capital of the United States. Who
Wouldn't
knows?
that be fun?
Yeah,
I think that would be great because then we could go out to the Marland and walk around
yeah,
there
exactly.
And
well, and so the lady that came to the Grand Ghost went to the mansion. They weren't giving tours, so she's going to come back and do that. But she travels all over the United States. So it's going to be, she does a podcast, I believe her page is called Spooky Okie.
Okay.
So it's a really cool deal. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Just grab onto some of those things that have worked in other towns, and we already have some ghost stories. So it's kind of like when I first started investing in downtown Ponca City, it was there was nothing going on,
right.
Really. So people, okay, do you know something? Or are you crazy? I said, well, it's got to be the latter because I don't know anything. But I bought within like 2 years, I bought 5 buildings. So everybody's like, okay, what's going on? What's going on? And like, I don't know. I said, so finally I started saying, well, do you know why Nashville, Tennessee is the country music capital of the world? I said, no, why? I said, because somebody wanted it to be.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's what it boils down to. I mean, just like Las Vegas, here you got a city out in the middle of a desert that everybody flocks to.
Right. So. Yeah. So you gotta put the flag in the ground and say this is where it's going to be at. Yeah. All right, Kevin. Thank you so much for coming in and talking to us. And we're gonna hope that maybe you'll come back and tell us more stories about downtown.
I'd love to. I'd love to come back.
All right. Thank you so much.